so important to understand and so wise that it's actually, if you're just a little bit careless as a developer, you can introduce inefficiencies that are going to be very difficult to track down because you don't know that it can be faster. Like the code doesn't scream at you saying this could be much faster. So you have to actually, as a craftsman, be very careful when you're writing the code and always thinking, can this be done much more efficiently? And it can be tiny things because they all propagate throughout the code. And so there's a real cost in having a careless developer anywhere in the company. Because they can introduce that inefficiency and all the other developers won't know. They'll just assume it kind of has to be that way. And so there's a real responsibility for every single individual developer that's building any component of an app like Telegram to just always ask, can this be done more efficiently? Can this be done more simply? And that's like one of the most beautiful aspects, the art forms of programming, right?
Oh, yes, because when you manage to discover a way to simplify things, make them more efficient, you feel incredibly happy and
Yes.
proud and accomplished. And to your point, I can recall a few instances in my career when firing an engineer actually resulted to an increase in productivity. Say you have 2 Android engineers building the app, and then just they just can't make it. They are not keeping up with the pace of the feature release schedule, and you think I probably have to hire a third one. But then you notice that one of them is really weird, falling behind the schedule, complaining some of the time, doesn't assume responsibility. And you ask, so what if I just fire this person? And you fire this person. In a few weeks, you realize you actually don't need, and you never needed the third engineer. The problem was this guy who created more issues and more problems than he solved. That is so counterintuitive because, in developing tech projects, we tend to think that you just throw more people into something and then things get solved miraculously by themselves just because more people means more attention from them. No.
That's, again, extremely powerful. Steve Jobs talked about A players and B players. And there's something that happens when you have B players, which is kind of like the folks you're talking about, introduced into a team. They can somehow slow everybody down. They demotivate everybody. And it's very counterintuitive. That you basically, part of the work of creating a great team is removing the B players. It's not just hiring more, in generally speaking. It's finding the A players, quote unquote, and removing the people that are slowing things down.
Oh, yes. Because the other thing that people don't realize is how demotivating working with the B player is. Everybody can tell if the other person, the other engineer they're working with, is really competent. And if it's very visible, if the person is not comfortable, they're asking the wrong questions, they keep lagging behind. And at a certain point, if you're an A player, you get this dissatisfaction, this feeling that you are not able to realize your full potential, accomplish what you're really meant to accomplish because of this person working next to you or pretending to work next to you. And by the way, in some cases, it's not because the person is lazy. In some cases, it's just, their mental, their intellectual ability is not there. It's not about experience. Most often, it's about natural ability and persistence. In 90% of cases, it's just the inability to focus on one task for an extended period of time. Not everybody has this ability. So for people who do have this ability, it's an insult to work alongside someone who is distracted and cannot go deep in the projects that they're responsible for.